Hey guys, Benji here doing my question of the week. So, question of the week is when did you get your first car? So, pretty simple, straightforward. Um, so, I'm going to take this question as when did you buy your first car? So, I got my first car when I turned 16. It was a 1979 Datsun 210. It was a horrible car. My dad bought it brand new. I mean, it had to be because it was cheap, right? Nobody would buy a Datsun 210. I can't imagine because you're like, this car is awesome. Um, which is so against the brand of my father being cheap, right? Um, so yeah, it makes sense. But I didn't get that car until 11 years later, right? So that car is 11 years old. It's got 190,000 miles on it. It's all mine. My buddies called it double A because they asked, like, does this have a regular car battery in it or does it run on double A's? Um, yeah, it couldn't get up to the speed limit on I 70. Uh, Downhill, coming off of like Duncan Road or Woods Chapel, like going downhill towards Independence Center on I 70, you could get up to the speed limit. But besides that, no, I just rode in in the right lane and I don't know what people thought they passed me. I doubt they thought like, I bet you that little piece of crap car can't even get to the speed limit. I don't know, but they probably just thought I was being safe. Uh, After that one I went to. So I went to college. I didn't take a car to college. I didn't take that car. We sold it to a junkyard. This is how good that car was. That car we got $35 for at the junkyard, and we got to keep the tires. They kept the wheels, but they took the tires off, and Dad kept the tires. We got $35. Wow. Um, The next car, I didn't really get another car. So I didn't need one in college, really, because I just rode down with friends and went down. Mom and dad would take me down and move me in. But after that, everything just stayed down there and didn't really need I mean, I lived in the fraternity house first year. I lived in the dorm second year. Like, you don't need a car really. Come home every once in a while. There's always somebody going to Kansas City, especially to Blue Springs. So it's right at the edge, the eastern edge of Kansas City. So you really don't need any help because everybody's going there. If you live in Parkville, people might be like, dude, I'm not going all the way out to Parkville. Like, it's on the other side of the world. Um, but Blue Springs, people are like, sure, I'll drop it off. And we live like 5 minutes off I 70. So it actually was pretty easy. And the sun's getting bright. Um, but anyway, it, so I didn't really have one. In the summers when I had my job, I would take there was a Cutlass, a white Cutlass Sierra or something, Cutlass Celebrity something, and then we had the Pontiac 6000, which mostly Josh drove, but anyway, everybody just kind of shared a little bit. Um, and those cars worked; they were fine. So that was just kind of what I used through college. So, but the answer to this question, um, when did you get your first car? Um, it would be, I mean, right after I graduated college. I kind of looked at it as, hey, I have been going to school for what, 13 years through high school, and then another four and a half because I didn't graduate until December um, from college. So another four and a half. So I'm 17 and a half years of school. I finally get out. I didn't even get a real job yet. I was just working at Barley's. But I was making good money, waiting tables and yeah, it was fun. Kevin was working there, so he got me on and all that good stuff. But um, I went and you just start looking at cars and you're dreaming, of course, but you're also aware of your financial situation as a college kid, and you've got rent to pay and student loan payments that are going to kick in here in a little bit. But anyway, I was like, I'm going to get something I really like, and I had always liked European cars, but Mercedes, Audi, BMW, those weren't in the cards. So to Volkswagen it was, and I really liked the Jettas. I liked them all. I liked them throughout the years, and then the year that I got, what did I get? I think it was a 98, 97. 97 or 98. I think it's a 98. 98 Volkswagen Jetta GT. It was all black and it had wood dash in it. That was like an upgrade that I paid like, I don't even know, $400 for or something. It wasn't like a real wood dash, but it looked wood and I thought it was fancy at the time and I loved it. And other people did too. They're like, "Oh man, this is a great car." I the funniest part about this whole story is that I walked in and was like, "Hey, I want there's one on your website. It's black and it's black interior and it's got wood trim. I want that." And they're like, "Hey, cool. We sold that a couple days ago, but here's a white one." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, I don't want a white one. I want the black one. I want that." They're like, "Well, I can't get that." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, all right." And so I started leaving. They're like, "Oh, hey, let me see what we can do. We can see if we can switch one out somewhere." I'm sure it costed them some money to switch cars back and forth, or whatever, but it must have been worth it enough to sell it. But the funny part was, like, we never discussed the price of it. Like, when I remember going into the office to like sign it, and I'm like, "What is this? What is my monthly payment going to be? What's this car even cost?" I don't know. I mean, it must have been within my budget because I was looking at it, but I didn't know until I got there, and the payment was $426. I will remember that for forever. And I remember going, "How am I going to afford $426 every single?" Now this was, yeah, 97. I think that's what it was. I think it was in 97. Yeah, 97 is when I bought it, but it was a 98 model. It was the new one coming out. So I got it in like August or something, August, September. And it was I loved that car, right? I mean, I drove it for I don't even know how many years. I forget what I ended up getting a Mitsubishi Galant. Because the Jetta was kind of slow. It was a little four-cylinder. It was a stick. I got tired of driving a stick. Because they're a pain. I mean, hate to say it, but I was selling cell phones at the end when I had that car. And I mean, you're on your cell phone all the time, even back then, especially when you're a cell phone salesman. So you get a free phone, right? That you don't pay for any of the minutes or phone calls or texts you make. And so you're on it all the time, right? So you're trying to be so cool and look like you are awesome because you're so important to take calls in your car. Because back then, it was like, oh man, I can't even remember, but I think it was like 25 cents a minute, right? To make phone calls. So you were a baller if you could just actually take a 8-minute phone call, that cost $2 every time you took one of those calls. But but I loved that car and I took such good care of it and it was awesome. And I drove it for I have no idea how many miles, 100 and something, right? Well, let's call it 110, something like that. But anyway, I ended up getting a new car that was just faster. It was V6. I liked the Galants when they came out. They had I just thought they looked good, so I went and got that. It was like the same price. It was like $430, $440. I think it was 440 something. And I was like, "Oh, cool! I can get a new car." And blah blah blah. And so I gave that car. Did I give it to Josh or sell it? I don't know if I sold it. I don't know what I did. I think I paid off that car. But anyway, Josh gets it, and I swear to you, in freaking 2 months, that thing was a wreck. I mean, it smelled like smoke. All the windows were like had this like smudge all over them. It hadn't been vacuumed, hadn't been cleaned, hadn't done anything to it. And I remember just going, "This is the difference between my brother and I. Is that I have this thing for like 5 years and baby it with everything that I have, and he gets it and could just care less." And that poor thing, it probably hated me. Like, what did you do? Who did you leave me with? But that was my first car. And I will always remember that car. Like, I just loved it. I think it was the first time that it was like, I have money. I get to go out and I get to pick out the car that I want. And I have like $400 a month budget to do it, which gave me a decent amount. Now, I will say for anybody that's watching this, like, "Oh, that was stupid. How could you have $400?" So the reason that I could do this was because Kevin Hovis and I ended up moving in with April Reese, who had just divorced from a guy that we knew named Adam Reese, who was friends with Des Young. Doesn't matter. But if anybody's watching this later in life and remembers those names, that'd be funny. But we moved in with April, and she lived with us for a while, but then she ended up moving out, and we lived there for like another 2 or 3 years. But when I first moved in there, I was living in the basement. The total rent for the entire place, oh, what was it? It's either 525 or 575. I think it was, I can't remember. But anyway, April like paid the most. She like paid like 225. That's it must have been 525. I think she paid 225 a month. She had the biggest bedroom and there was a bathroom upstairs. Her and Kevin shared. Kevin had the other bedroom. It was a lot smaller. April's bedroom was actually really big. I ended up moving into it after she moved out, and it was great. It was a big closet, but big, huge room, like I don't know, 18 by 20. It was a large room, especially for a young kid, 24-year-old kid. But so Kevin paid 200, so that left 425. So there was only $100 left, so I paid $100 a month, right? So I paid $100 a month for rent. We split the utilities 3 ways, so I'm paying like $150 for rent and utilities. It was fabulous. So everybody else is out there paying $500 or $600 a month and having a roommate that they live with, and they find some place for $1,000 or whatever. But I was able to spend 150 a month. So I thought, hey, instead of like saving that money or doing something smart, no, I went out and got a better car. So I gave myself $400 budget, and I went and got that car, and I loved it. And I thought it was the most fun. And it was just like, there were probably rich kids that got that when they were 16 or 18 or 20, or when you graduated college, your parents just buy you a car or something's awesome. I just didn't have that. Now, Kit, we can get into that whole thing. Kit and Katie, Kit, dad bought him like 2 trucks at one point. I'm like, good Lord. But we didn't have rich parents. They had the rich parents. We had the poor parents. Um, but it was awesome to have a car that you just love and that you paid for and that you could afford, right? I mean, with insurance and everything, it was like $550 a month. And the freedom and going on dates and meeting people and doing anything. Anybody sees your car, you're like, oh, yeah, you got like a brand new car. Oh, that's great. A little VW Jetta. Oh, I love those things. Everybody loved it. That was great. It looked good. I kept it clean all the time, so it always was in good shape. So everything about it was great. And I will just always look back on that fondly. So at first, I started off this video thinking this is a stupid question. How long can you talk about, when did you get your first car? I was going to be like, oh, I got it after college. It was a VW Jetta. End of the video. Next thing you know, over talked, and it's 13 or 14 minutes in, and this is where we're at. But I'll finish it up right here. But I love that car, and I think there's nothing better. And I don't know if it's for girls, but do know a lot of guys that have that same story, especially from my generation, that were like, when I got out of college, finally had a regular job, I got a paycheck every week. The first thing I did, like I could care less where I lived, I wanted a car. I wanted a car that was new or almost new, and that I didn't have to worry about breaking down and doing all this bad stuff and being embarrassed of it. That's what I had my whole life. And I finally went out and felt like an adult that had accomplished something. And so it gives you this sense of satisfaction, and I'll never forget that. That was wonderful. And ever since then, it's just started my love of cars, and nowadays European cars, with having, I don't know, good Lord, I probably had 15 BMWs at this point. There's probably 5 of them out there in the driveway right now, but I love it. And that probably started the whole thing. So, that's my answer. 1998 VW Jetta, 6 months after graduating college, and had any money at all to afford the down payment, which was like $500. And I was in, and I didn't care what it cost or didn't know, and I was happy. So that's my answer. See you guys.